All right. First off, I want to thank Keith for letting me do this. He was part of the subcommittee that actually helped plan this and work on the maturity assessment itself. So we were on a group of there was 5 of us originally. One of us had to drop off towards the beginning for other career goals. So, but the actual subcommittee itself is a subcommittee of the Idaho GIS Strategic Plan Committee. It's a larger committee that was formed by Mike Woodford. He is the GIO for the state. First we'll go over a little bit of an overview of what that actual strategic plan does, so that you know the purpose of why the actual committee was formed. So the overall goal of the actual committee itself was to rewrite the 5-year state GIS strategic plan. Every 5 years, they kind of take these strategic goals and strategic plans and put them in the funnel and figure out if we need to rewrite it, or if it's good in its current state, if there's anything that we need to accomplish as part of the actual plan itself. So the strategic plan meets every other week, and there are subcommittees and branches off of that actual committee itself. My subcommittee, subcommittee 2, actually has somewhat sunsetted as part of the larger committee, since the actual maturity assessment has been put out and is live. We've had it going now for a couple of months, and it actually has gotten some good participation. We have about 40 folks that have participated actively in the assessment itself. So that's been nice, and this event here is hopefully going to get some more folks to jump on and take it. My subcommittee's plan obviously was to develop and propose a GIS maturity assessment. This included us creating standards for different grading scales. And we also wanted to make sure that the assessment that we created had a wide range of reach. We didn't want to just assess the GIS professionals of the state. We wanted to be able to assess everybody from business end users, managers, people of the public, that type of thing. And you'll see later in my presentation just how we did that and how we kind of accomplished that. So this is an overview of somewhat what we did and accomplished as a subcommittee. We first started with research. We then assessed how we were going to actually assess the maturity of GIS in Idaho. That led to what I call IGMA, which is the Idaho GIS Maturity Assessment, where we utilize Survey 123 as our backdrop to actually assess folks and get that survey out. We then had to assess what dispersal methodologies we were going to use. And then we also had to present recommendations to the larger subcommittee. So that's what we did up to date currently as our subcommittee. The initial research that was completed for the actual assessment itself, we had to figure a grading scale, as we could have easily just did yes, no questions in our survey and our assessment, but we wanted a wider grab at folks' actual maturity itself. We didn't want the yes, no, because that left too many skipped questions or opportunities there to really assess what people are thinking and where their environments are currently sitting. So with our research, we actually adopted the ERISA assessment. Our assessment follows it pretty closely. I've put a link here, and this PowerPoint slide is actually publicized in a YouTube video as well. So you guys can have access to this afterwards. But the link to the actual maturity assessment, ERISA, is on here. So you can actually see that and see some of that methodology that we actually adopted. Other research that we completed were following the NSGIC maturity assessment, FHWA, UCGIS, and we also did a little bit of research in the Kings County GIS. Most of those folks did adopt in a large part the ERISA assessment as well, or a lot of the methodologies following that. We also took in an account the year of creation versus the changes in technology. So a lot of maturity assessments that we researched were created a few years back, but we all know that changes in technology are great in an annual base. So we had to take in consideration the changing technology and where we're sitting today as opposed to when some of these were originally created. So that leads us to how we decided we were going to actually assess the state's GIS maturity. We decided to utilize Survey 123 as it is a GIS technology and Esri capable. So we utilized the Esri platform and created an actual survey that led up to what we are now calling IGMA, which is out and publicized, and there will be a link later on in the presentation. It is also shared on our Idaho GIS webpage. The link is here as well. So people can visit that Idaho GIS webpage and access it from there. There's also a dashboard available now as well, so you can all see people that have actually participated, how many individuals have participated, and where they work. I thought that was important so we can kind of assess and see where we're at and how many folks are taking that. We also adopted, like I said, the ERISA model and the leveled answers that they utilize. I'll be doing a little bit of a demo of what the actual assessment looks like so you can see it in a bit, but it's got two main components. It's got an enabling capabilities component, and as you can see here, it's got like a grading scale of 5 or 6 different examples that you can choose from. 0 would be probably least, you're least mature there, or you don't have the capabilities. 1 being fully implemented, and your whoever you associate with is highly or highly mature as it comes to that specific capability. We also wrote in the actual survey itself some notes because we had to get some feedback that some of this isn't so intuitive when you're sitting there looking at it and taking it for your agency, so, or whoever you affiliate with. And then so we added some notes to help people and assist people. And the one thing that is nice about the Survey 123 is it's not static, so you can actually go in there and change things. So I highly recommend when you're in there, if you have any comments, questions, or concerns, definitely get them back to us as we can go in there and help and hopefully help other folks when they're taking it in the future. So the other component is the execution abilities. Like you can see here, there are the 5 levels again. Level 1, ad hoc processes, being your least mature there. Level 5 again being your optimized processes, meaning that you have processes and capabilities and methodologies around it being most mature for your agency. So this is where I'm going to actually show you IGMA, or the maturity assessment. Like I said, we utilized Survey 123. We created a dashboard from the data. It's not a review of the data, but it is of who has taken it. There has been another subcommittee formed that is going to make a story map in the future that will kind of review the data that we are collecting from the actual maturity assessment itself. I'm going to click on this, and it's hopefully going to open this for us. Let's see here. I'm going to demo this a little bit so we can see what it actually looks like. So this is what it should look like when you pull it up on your desktop. or your phone. I recommend highly that you utilize a desktop, as this maturity assessment is rather large. It takes about 30 minutes per section. There are those two sections, the execution and the enabling capabilities. So you're going to need some time. We do have save draft mode on, but that only exists in the same environment that you're taking it in now. So if you open up in a Chrome desktop environment, please open it up in that same Chrome desktop environment, as it's going to save it there for you. So if you start taking it in your phone and then try to go take it on your desktop, that's not going to save it for you. So I highly recommend that if you're going to take this, definitely take it in your desktop and in the same platform. This is the opening screen, and hopefully when you get in here and read this, this is just basically telling you why this was formed, what it is, how long it takes to take it. Hopefully you can acknowledge that you do want to take the assessment, and so you'll click yes here. We have in here who you're affiliated with or which organization type you work for. I'm going to kind of follow along here as I would answer. I do work for ITD, although we do have in here county, city, other, where you'll actually type in your thing, and then you can actually go in here and search for your who you're affiliated with. I also have educational institutions and federal government, but I do work for ITD, so I'll go in here and do the drop down, click ITD, and then come in here. And we do have this. This is something new that we added more recently. We wanted to be able to gather emails from folks, as these are more anonymous type submissions. So we ask if you feel comfortable leaving us your email address. This is so that maybe later on we can do some follow-up and reach out to folks at a later date. So you'd put your email here if you're comfortable, and you'd let us know if you feel good, okay with us following up with you right here as well. This is where it differs right here is, does your organization have GIS staff? Mine does, but so I click yes, but I do want to show you that if you click no right here, we have a whole list of questions that relate to you. If your organization or wherever you work for, or if you're not even a GIS professional yet, you can go ahead and go through these different questions, and they're not so much based on an organization's maturity. It's based on kind of your maturity and whether or not your interests are to move forward in the GIS profession. So we ask here, things like, are you interested in becoming a certified GIS professional? Yes. And it asks, which type of GIS training and opportunities you're interested in. So it's not so much as in the weeds as the other part of the assessment is if you were to click yes on this answer right here, does your organization have a GIS staff? That's kind of leading back to when I said we wanted to do a wide grab here, an actual assessment. We didn't want to just get to the GIS professionals. We want to be able to kind of grab a answer from everybody. So this gives everybody an opportunity to answer. So if you don't have a GIS staff, you click no, answer your question, submit, and you'd be done. If you have a GIS staff in your organization, then you'd click yes. I have staff, we have staff here at the department. So I click yes on this and I go next. And this is where you actually get into the actual components themselves. I give a little bit of an overview of what each component is, how long it takes, the grading scales, and then you get the actual questions itself. As you can see here, you can click here. This is a good example. Does your organization have access to all the Idaho framework layers required for its business needs? If your agency doesn't, you hit non-applicable. If your agency does, but have a little work to do, you can click any of these. If your agency is fully implemented and able to access everything they need, they'd be able to click here and great, move on. So you can come in here, and there are kind of that, what we call the cascading questions. So when you answer some of these, you'll notice another question comes up. That's where I'm saying it's going to take about 30 minutes to answer these, because it's not just going through and clicking on the grade scale. It's going here, and we're actually trying to gather some data about, you know, your actual maturity level of your agency and how you guys are utilizing data, how you guys are learning. So I won't go through every question, because as you can see, there is quite a few questions in here. All of them kind of have that cascading functionality. So definitely take your time and utilize the saved draft, because you can come back to it. Execution abilities is that second component that I was talking about. Same thing here. Just letting you know, it's going to take about 30 minutes to finish this section. The different level gradings, and then it gets right back into the actual questions themselves. Same thing here, cascading functionality. You can come in here and click on these as necessary. So that it's just a little demo of what we're looking at as far as the actual assessment itself and what that looks like. I do have in the presentation QR code. You could scan it now, but we can also drop the link to the actual survey itself in the chat so that folks can have access to that. If you'd like, we can do that towards the end of the chat here. That way we can actually get some more folks on board and taking that. So the dispersal methodologies that we've kind of discussed moving forward with, and how we've kind of got folks to participate. We sent out a blast to the GeoTech Listserv, which is just an email listserv for Idaho and the GIS community. If you all participate in that, you should have received an email with the link, a QR code, the link to the YouTube video of my original presentation to the IGC folks. We also utilize IGC to get that out there, so those participating members in there can access that. We're also just getting it out at any conference and group GIS meetings, much like this one. Utilizing existing directories. We had a large directory of GIS professionals in Idaho, just sent a large email blast out to them, told them to get them out to anybody they feel is either a GIS power user, management, that type of thing. We did make it available year-round on the GIS website for the state, so everybody should be able to access that year-round. We thought that was important so that we weren't shutting it off before everybody had their chance of doing it. So we kind of have this live and activated for everybody to take. We're also selling the assessment anywhere we can. So that just having the QR code available. So if we're just in generalized networking discussions, like at the Esri UC, we got, you know, I talked to a couple GIS folks from Idaho. I had the QR code, a link available. People were able to get on and take that. So selling it wherever we can. Here's my credits. We did do a lot of research. Obviously, like I said, the ERISA was the big one. NSGIC, Federal Highways, GIS County or Kings County, and then the UC GIS. I have all those links available, so if you guys are interested, we can get this out. So that kind of leaves me to any questions that anybody has, questions, comments, concerns.